The universe operates with an inherent order and balance. When individuals inflict harm or spread negativity, they inadvertently set in motion a chain of events that ultimately leads to their own undoing. Life has a way of restoring equilibrium, ensuring that every action and intention returns to its source, often amplified. Those who sought your downfall are now experiencing their own, caught in the very snares they laid for you. This isn't about vengeance, it's about divine alignment. As one who is chosen, you were never meant to plead for peace or validation. You were forged in adversity, tested in solitude, and now the universe is shifting in your favor. This isn't because you fought harder, but because their malice could not shatter what was inherently unbreakable. While they conspired against you in the shadows, hoping to derail your future, they unknowingly etched your legend into history. They believed they were masters of the game, unaware that you are the very board upon which they played. Their attempts to bring you down triggered an irreversible sequence, one that will haunt them with every failed scheme, every restless night, and every unforeseen loss. This is the profound impact of being chosen. It reverberates, it shakes foundations, it overturns the status quo. Before we delve deeper into this undeniable truth, take a moment to reflect. What you are about to understand is more than just a message. It's a revelation. Those who tried to break, control, or silence you are now confronting a reality they never anticipated. Their descent has already begun. The universe is ensuring that every harmful action they took against you is returned with absolute precision. If you feel this profound shift within your spirit, engage with this truth now. Acknowledge this moment, for it marks the precise instant their defeat commenced and your ascent became unstoppable. Do not disengage, for the evidence is unfolding, and it is irrefutable. 1. Never mistake their power for protection. You are covered by something greater. The adversaries of the chosen consistently make a crucial error. They confuse visibility with vulnerability. Your quiet demeanor might lead them to believe you're weak, and your solitary path might suggest a lack of support. However, they fail to grasp that the most potent forces are often the least conspicuous. Earthquakes don't seek permission, tsunamis don't announce their arrival, and the chosen don't shout, they shift. You've witnessed it, those with titles, connections, and influence attempting to assert dominance, launching attacks from behind closed doors, spreading falsehoods, manipulating outcomes, and stacking the odds against you. They operate like puppeteers, convinced they control the game. Yet here's the profound twist. The very strings they pull are now tightening around their own necks. They assumed you were engaging with the same weapons: gossip, manipulation, brute force. But you are operating on an entirely different plane. Your lack of reaction emboldened them. Your composure was misinterpreted as fear. But they overlooked a fundamental truth. Silence is the calm before the storm, and stillness is precision, not surrender. Now they find themselves ensnared. The very system they devised to trap you is collapsing upon them. They constructed the stage for your downfall, but the spotlight has unexpectedly pivoted to them. They cast the first stone, forgetting that the universe never misses its mark. Every move they made is being mirrored back with exacting force. This isn't coincidence. It's the cosmos's inherent correction. They believed you were defenseless because you didn't cry for help, but they couldn't perceive the protective field forming around your essence. You are chosen, and being chosen doesn't manifest with thunderous applause. It arrives with unshakable alignment. You are not merely surviving. You are being positioned, elevated, and rendered untouchable in plain sight. Let them mock, let them plot, let them flail in the dark. While they are preoccupied with their illusions of power, reality is preparing a sentence they cannot evade. Their jail isn't merely a physical confinement. It's the reverberation of their intentions crashing back into their own lives. You, however, continue to walk quietly, boldly, because true power doesn't announce itself loudly. It moves with righteousness. And when you are chosen, you don't require revenge. You are the consequence. Second, stop fighting back. Let the boomerang of their malice handle them. There comes a point when silence transcends power and becomes surgical. When the chosen go quiet, the universe begins to speak louder than any rebuttal, louder than any exposed secret. The truth is, the very energy they unleashed to destroy you is now returning with pinpoint accuracy. Let them cast dirt, let them lie, let them operate in shadows, believing they are unseen. For in doing so, component placement. They are inscribing their own fate in invisible ink, and the light of exposure is poised to reveal it. You have no need to pursue them, defend yourself, or retaliate. The boomerang is already in flight, and upon its return, it will not miss. It never has. They labeled it strategy, dominance, but they failed to comprehend the universe's ancient laws. You sow destruction, you reap collapse. They didn't just hurl stones, they constructed altars of hatred, believing your downfall would satiate their egos. But here's the reality about the chosen. When the enemy prepares a pit, they forget to account for the collapse of their own ground. You may be silent, but the pressure is building. You may be still, but the shift is underway. And while they become louder, bolder, and more malevolent, the energy they unleashed is beginning to arc mid-air, directly back at them. This isn't karma, it's consequence. It's not revenge, it's restoration. And this is the aspect that truly torments them. They believed they were getting away with it. They celebrated your suffering and reveled in your struggles. But what they never foresaw was that your silence was never weakness. It was protection. It was the universe buying time to gather evidence. So, cease fighting back. You don't need to sully your hands with dirt that was never yours. Let their own energy perform the work, for what they launched in arrogance will land in their destruction. The boomerang doesn't just return, it strikes with greater force on its way back. And when it does, it will remind them that chosen ones don't engage in dirty tactics because we never have to. We don't chase justice, we embody it. 3. Don't match their ego. It's the very thing that will bury them. They walk with inflated chests, fueled by a false sense of power. They speak with arrogance, blinded by their compulsion to dominate. And when they observe your quiet, reserved, unshaken demeanor, they smirk, believing ego equates to strength and loudness signifies power. But what they don't grasp is this. The higher their ego ascends, the harder it will crash, and that crash is already in motion. You do not need to mirror their energy. Let them play kings in a crumbling castle. Let them bark orders while standing on sinking ground. You, the chosen one, were never designed for petty games. Your silence provokes them, your calmness exposes their chaos, and your lack of reaction becomes the most resounding message in the room. You have no need to prove yourself, because you already know who you are. Ego is their addiction. It causes them to overplay every hand and underestimate every quiet threat. And you are the silent threat they never anticipated. While they were consumed with feeding their pride, you were sharpening your awareness. While they surrounded themselves with sycophants and facades, you remained aligned, grounded, focused, and untouchable. Let them chatter, let them flaunt their fleeting victories, because their ego is writing checks their spirit cannot cash. Soon, all that pride will transmute into panic. When the spotlight of accountability illuminates them, they will be unable to feign innocence or lie their way out. The very arrogance that made them feel invincible will be the same arrogance that leads them directly into the courtroom, into the cell, into the life lesson they never saw coming. Do not engage with fools who equate volume with value. You are chosen. That alone terrifies them. That alone is the reason for their attacks. You did not match their ego, and that is precisely why you won. Let them drown in their own reflection while you ascend untouched. The chosen do not need to respond. We rise while they self-destruct. You are the quiet storm from which they will never recover. 4. Don't be shocked. When jail becomes their stage, it's all part of the justice plan. It's ironic how those who considered themselves invincible, untouchable, and too powerful to fall suddenly find themselves under an unexpected spotlight. Not on a podium, but in a courtroom. Not praised, but prosecuted. Jail isn't just about bars and walls. It's about exposure. It's about stripping away the fabricated image they painstakingly constructed. For the chosen, justice doesn't always arrive with a fanfare. It often walks in quietly, and when it strikes, it hits like a freight train. The very people who once ridiculed you, sabotaged you behind the scenes, and employed manipulation, deceit, and power to try and obliterate your name, are now center stage. Not for applause, but because their time is up. And you don't have to lift a finger. This is the unfolding of the justice plan. Those who attempted to bury your truth are now choking on their own. The lies they spun, the traps they set, the energy they expended trying to shatter your peace. It all becomes the evidence against them, not merely in public opinion, but in tangible, real-world consequences. Jail is not a punishment. It's a presentation. It's the universe declaring, this is what happens when you attempt to harm someone who was never yours to touch. Now, everyone sees it. Their freedom was fleeting, their mask temporary, and now their transgressions are undeniable, their names tarnished, and their supporters silenced. This isn't karma, it's correction. Divine timing with surgical precision. So, do not be surprised, do not be confused when their downfall becomes a headline. Understand this, it was never your duty to seek revenge. Your role was to remain in position, to keep moving forward, to keep building, to keep becoming. For while they were fixated on you, you were being observed by something far greater. This stage was not erected for their performance, it was built for their reckoning. And while they fall before the very crowd they once impressed, you, quiet, unshaken, and chosen, rise. You are the living reminder that no evil goes unseen, and they are the example that no mask remains on forever. 5. Don't fear the setup. The assassination always fails against the chosen. There's a distinct arrogance that accompanies secret plotting. They genuinely believed they had you cornered, thinking that if they manipulated enough situations, whispered enough lies, and pressed the right buttons, they could erase you completely. Not just ruin your reputation, but eradicate your presence, your future, your peace. What they devised wasn't merely betrayal, it was an assassination, a full-scale character execution, designed to leave nothing but silence in its wake. But here's where they utterly failed. They didn't comprehend who you truly are. You are not ordinary, you were never a part of their equation. You are the glitch in their system, the variable they couldn't control. Every trap they meticulously laid for you was calculated by ego, but the math never computes against the chosen. For what they intended to end you only served to expose them. And while they sat back, anticipating your fall, the setup inverted, the plan backfired, and now they are the ones walking into a trap they themselves designed. Your name survived their poison. Your spirit outran their sabotage, and you walked through that fire without a single burn mark. That is the kind of power they will never comprehend. What they dismissed as luck was in fact protection. What they labeled coincidence was alignment. They failed to extinguish your purpose, because your purpose is untouchable. Consider this: they gathered like wolves, sharpened their blades in silence, and yet you continued to rise. How do you kill someone who has already been reborn through everything designed to destroy them? You cannot. The assassination failed because the target was never alone. You are shielded by something no false friend, no envious family member, no hidden enemy can penetrate. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to stoop to their level. Simply exist and let your survival echo louder than any revenge ever could. Let them speak. Let them twist narratives. Let them try again, because every attempt only tightens the rope they've tied around themselves. Exposure is coming, and while they prepare their next scheme, the universe is preparing the verdict. You don't need to be afraid of the setup, because for the chosen, every setup is merely the genesis of their greatest rise. The weapon may form, but it never strikes. 6. Don't chase revenge. The tables turn quicker than you think. They sought to break you, not merely bruise, but shatter your peace, crush your confidence, and bury the version of you they could no longer manipulate. But they failed to grasp a critical truth. You are not built to remain broken, and what they attempted to destroy is precisely what will rise to expose them. That is why you do not chase revenge. The universe has already scheduled it. There exists a hidden law in this world, a rhythm that cannot be silenced or manipulated. The very hands they used to push you down will soon be the ones pleading for mercy. The same voices that mocked you in private will be stammering in public, attempting to explain their own collapse. You do not need to strike, you do not need to attack. All you have to do is not fold. The table always turns, and when it does, it turns violently. One day, they are laughing, the next, they are justifying themselves to people who once feared them. Their name becomes a cautionary tale, their influence turns to dust, because the seat of power they occupied was never built on truth. It was constructed on the backs of the people they tried to break. And you just kept walking, quiet, focused, unshaken. That silence they ridiculed. It was strategy. That peace they called weakness. It was power. You became living proof that remaining still doesn't mean staying stuck. It means staying aligned. Aligned with timing, with purpose, and with the cosmic justice that never sleeps. They never anticipated their actions circling back, but the universe doesn't forget. It collects, stores, tracks, and when the opportune moment arrives, it strikes without warning and without apology. 7. Don't panic in the silence. That's when the strategy hits hardest. There's a moment in every storm where everything becomes quiet. No thunder, no movement, just a peculiar stillness. That isn't peace, it's positioning. Chosen ones, listen carefully. The silence you are experiencing is not abandonment. It's alignment. It's the universe meticulously pulling strings behind the curtain, while your enemies prematurely celebrate. They believe they've triumphed because they can't hear you. They think you're defeated because you're not reacting. But what they fail to realize is that your silence is a setup. Not for your downfall, but for their sentencing. This is the most perilous moment for them. The silence. That's when the universe begins to shift the ground beneath their feet. That's when their alliances start crumbling, their secrets begin to leak, and the very trap they set for you starts to snap shut around them. They mistake your quiet for weakness, but the most astute predator doesn't roar. It watches, it waits, it allows the prey to walk directly into the open. You didn't vanish, you elevated. You stepped out of the chaos and into position. While they were consumed with executing their attacks, you mastered your energy, and now they are exposed. Wide open, vulnerable. Just when they believe they are safe, that's when the strike comes. That's when their lies backfire. That's when their freedom transmutes into a prison cell. You don't need to chase revenge. You are the calm before the storm, and the storm possesses perfect timing. So, don't flinch, don't respond, don't break your silence. That is your advantage, that is your armor. Let them continue talking while the universe performs its calculations. Their fate isn't just approaching, it has already been sealed. And the silence they mocked, that was the warning shot. Let them continue laughing, because the true punchline is coming, and this time, it's wearing handcuffs. 8. Don't try to prove yourself. Their legacy is rotting while yours rises. Chosen one, grasp this fundamental truth. The loudest thing you will ever utter is your silence. While they frantically attempt to prove something to the world, posting fabricated victories, boasting about hollow accomplishments, painting illusions of success, you are quietly becoming the blueprint. You have no need to convince anyone of your worth. Your very existence is already shaking foundations. They desired you to beg for validation. They wanted to hear you scream, defend, and justify why you deserved better. But you remained quiet, you remained composed, and that stillness, it crushed them more profoundly than any words could. Because deep down, they knew that what they were trying to bury was already transforming into a monument. You do not have to explain your value to people who need to witness your failure to feel alive. Let them speak, let them distort your name. Because while their lies spread like smoke, your truth is igniting the very air. And now, everything they constructed upon your pain is collapsing. One lie at a time, one mask at a time, one false alliance at a time. You see, legacy runs deeper than mere success. It's about impact, memory, and energy. And the truth is, their legacy is beginning to rot. It's decaying under the weight of their actions. No matter how much perfume they spray on their reputation, the stench of manipulation cannot be washed away. They tried to write you out of the story, but the ink they used is fading, and your name, it is engraved in gold. Let them have their fleeting moment. You have a destiny. You are not merely passing through life. You are leaving footprints that do not fade. That is what terrifies them. That is why they attacked. And that is why they failed. Now they are the ones being remembered for all the wrong reasons: headlines, exposed messages, burnt bridges, legal consequences. The legacy they thought they were protecting is now the very force dragging them into darkness. So, do not waste time attempting to prove yourself. The chosen do not chase approval, they attract history. Your rise isn't a trend, it's a warning. Let them watch, let them rot, and let the universe demonstrate what happens when you try to erase someone who was built to last.